Okay, so speaking about backgrounds and background images and so on, and then background colors, there's another option. This is a new and growing area of CSS. CSS is becoming enormous now, and you can do so many things with it. Animation, filters, transitions, so on and so forth. Those are a little bit covered. Some are covered a little bit in your textbook. They're mostly beyond the scope of this class and pretty advanced areas. However, there's lots of stuff online about these, and one of these new areas and growing areas is the idea of CSS patterns and gradients, or both put together. Sometimes people just call them patterns, sometimes they call them gradients. They're really both put together. And the idea is that if you want to use CSS to create an interesting textured background, but not using an image, just letting CSS do the drawing itself. It'll make more sense if I show it to you. Now, you might try to make one of these yourself. Chances are, though, you're going to go use somebody else's. So if you do a search for CSS gradients or CSS patterns, you get lots of sites. On our Moodle page, I have given you links to one right here, CSS Gradient Pattern Gallery, and also a link to an online color gradient generator. So if I click on that link, I get this page, and these are lots of sample patterns. And you can click on one of these and use them on your page if you want. This is how you would do it. So before we continue, and actually the names have just come up, I'm going to show you the kind of page I would use this on. Now, most of these are pretty busy patterns, and you couldn't really read text through them very well. So you wouldn't want them probably in the general text area of your page. You probably want them in the margin area. So how do you separate out the margin area of your page from the rest of your page? Well, this is both an HTML thing and a CSS thing. I've got this page here, which you'll kind of recognize. I'm going to save it. I'm not sure what status I left it in, and run it. Let's show you what it is. This is a version of the Bistro page that you've worked with, but it looks different, right? Well, one thing is I've floated in a photo and floated in some text and so on. That's something else. You'll learn about that if we haven't already. That's not really the point here. The point is I have like these multiple backgrounds. Of course, you know how we got this one in the header area, but I took this area and separated it out also so we can see the margins are separate. What's going on here? This is called using a wrapper. A wrapper is just a div with an ID of wrapper. We only use the word wrapper because it wraps things, so it's tradition we use that word, but of course we can use any word we want for the ID. And it's sort of like a body within the body. So the whole page is represented as the body, but within that we put another div that goes around everything, and we can give it a different shape and size. Let me show you in the HTML. I'll scroll through. That's a whole bunch of CSS, which we will ignore for now. So here's my body. My body opens, good, but I have a div called wrapper, a div with an ID of wrapper, and that div doesn't close until just before the body closes. So it's sort of like a body within the body. But what have I done with that thing called wrapper? With that thing called wrapper, I have given it a background color, which is actually the same green color that we'd used in this exercise, and I give it some padding to sort of set everything inside of it. Okay, that's fine. So essentially, it's the text area, and its size is controlled by all those text blocks, right? But the body, right? The body, it has a different background color. In this case, it's papaya white. Or, sorry, papaya whip, and its size is controlled with these margins. So the margin area is actually shoving the wrapper in. And what did it look like? It looked like this. So that's that papaya whip, and this is the green hex color that was in the exercise. Well, what if I want to put something else here, like one of these patterns? Well, it's very easy. Instead of using this for the body is in some ways now, the color we see is just everything that's not in the wrapper. So it's sort of like a layer behind everything. So I'm going to stick something else in there. What I'm going to stick in here? A great big bunch of code that I'm going to get from this site. And which one will I pick? Oh, I don't know. You can pick any one you want and try different ones if you want. And you can edit them yourselves and try to change them around. I'm going to take this wild rainbow one. It's a big one. So it's giving me all this code. Look at all this. I'm going to select it all. You see it's all under background. And there's these radial gradients and linear gradients and sizes and so on, right? Great. I'm going to go back to my Notepad++. I'm going to get rid of the papaya white. By the way, if I just did that and saved it, watch what would happen. It'd just be a white there, okay, right? Good. Instead of that white, I'm going to paste all this stuff in here. Look at all that code. Yeah, but you could play with this yourself, and you can see there's nothing that crazy about it, really. It's a little crazy, but what happens if I save it and run it? Now I've got all this crazy, bubbly rainbow stuff all over the place behind the regular page, right? And maybe that's a little weird, and maybe these colors don't match too well, but of course you can work with that. Now, what if you want to make your own gradient? Well, that's another link. That would be the online. Well, you could again search, just Google online color gradient creators or free gradient creators. You shouldn't have to pay any money for these. And I've given you this one to play with. Again, this is all optional stuff if you want to use it. And you can use a tool to create your own gradient. I'm not going to spend any time on this or show you how to work it. There's some help information here. You play with it yourself. You build a gradient, try all kinds of different things, and then it gives you a bunch of code, and then you paste that code into your page. So there you go. Why don't you try some online gradients and play with it? It's a little extra optional piece I'm giving you in this class.